water. What's up, everyone? Scott the TroutHammer here. So, sort of the first video that I'm going to do in this freeform style. I don't want to call it a vlog, but it might just end up being a vlog style, but personally, I just don't want to call it a vlog, but it'll be what it is. Hi, phone. We just had our checkup for this little one, and she is doing great. She's had a real healthy weight, and they love the way she's developing, and mom's feeling good. You got there some brisket and pasta.
Yeah.
Started eating keto again yesterday, trying to start the process of getting back in shape. I was thinking about going for a walk. Are you okay if I go for a walk?
Sure.
Okay, I'll only be gone like 20 minutes or so.
Okay.
Hi, sweet sleepy fluff. Oh. Alright, so I'm going to get some shoes on. I'll take you guys out with me because I'm going to walk by a lake. We'll see what it looks like. Yep, you saw me. There you go, guys. That's a fish. There you go, guys. That's unreal! Oh, this is such an awesome looking fish. Oh, yeah! Alright, guys, check that out. Oh, baby ducks. Yeah, guys, this is something I try to do as often as I can, at least once a day. You know, sometimes multiple times a day, but just, you know, get outside and, you know, reconnect with God outdoors. This is where I always find him. I have always been an outdoorsman. You know, that is where I come alive for sure. That water is a lot muddier than the last time I was out here. This feels good. This feels particularly special because, you know, these walks have been a part of my life for almost half my life now. Seriously, how often I've been doing these walks, and this is my first time doing this as a father. Yeah, we're gonna get up to better water up here, see what it looks like. Yeah, this should be a familiar spot. Yeah, it'll clear up on this side of the falls. Don't see anything though, but I mean, I was here a couple weeks ago catching tons of little bass, so I know they're in here. But the dragonflies are out in full force, so that should be a clue to what to use as a lure. I wonder if they missed that patch of grass intentionally. You know, I should also mention, another reason why I get out and do these walks is, yeah, should be kind of obvious. Gets me out in the sun. I mean, come on, look at this. My skin is suffering. I don't look Italian at all. Alrighty. I'll tell you guys what, the worst thing about adjusting to keto diet is that you cannot drink enough water. You are so dehydrated. I've seriously been salting everything I've been eating. I've been keeping up on my electrolytes. Just kind of hard to stay hydrated without carbs. But just got done running a bunch of errands. We had some family come over to see Sophia, and I had to get stuff ready because I'm starting a new job at a new company here in a couple days, so I had to get stuff ready for that. But you know, with way fishing's been here in Oregon, especially in the Mid-Valley, the last couple of weeks or so, and I mean, we're starting to get pretty close to the end of the spawn. I think the post-spawn's finally starting to begin. I'm going to change some of the rigging I have set up on my rods and show you guys how I get set up for, you know, changing of the season for fishing. You know, so I'm going to get out of here, get ready for, you know, like I said in that top 5 salmon fishing lures video, you got to change out those hooks on those Bill Lewis rail traps, so pull these out of the cabinet to get those changed on. Alright, so post-spawn, bass are going to be associating more to fish as food. Just want those high-calorie meals. So I'm going to start getting some jigs pre-rigged. I'm definitely going to use some moving bait. Going to use I think that is a 1/2 ounce. It's either a 1/2 ounce or a 3/8 ounce chatterbait. Bluegill pattern on the skirt, and it's a bluegill Rage Tail Menace grub. I guess that's supposed to be bluegill color. I've never seen bluegill look that way, but I mean, you know, definitely going to make the noise of a fish in the water match the color. And just in case, use a 1/2 ounce rattling jig with a, I think that's a Bama Craw Rage Chunk as a trailer. Use rattling jigs. That's the sound a crawdad makes in the water, but I mean, right now the crawdads are going to be getting that sort of like real dark red color to them, so should be an appropriate color choice. Just in case I come across some bass that are looking for craws for food. Get ourselves set up with a Rage Tail Cutter Worm on a shaky head. I'm going to be fishing some spots where there should be some nice big flats that are right beneath me, so going to have a Strike King Rage Tail Swimmer on a 1/8 ounce jig rig. So this thing, I don't know if you guys have seen these jig rigs, but I mean, they're pretty sweet. So that's a 1/8 ounce tungsten weight on there. What you do is you actually rig up on the split ring right here, and you sort of just like hop this off the bottom. Works better if it's a sandy bottom. You don't want to use this on a rocky bottom because you don't want to draw attention to that weight when it's making noise like that. If it's a sandy bottom, it's going to be just fine, but it sort of gives us like nose down feeding approach to a swim bait like that. Get that pre-rigged up to throw on. I want to leave out some lighter color, more silent presentation, so 3/8 ounce swim jig with a Big Bites Baits, I think that's the Cane Thumper, yeah, Cane Thumper swim bait in the Easy Money color. I promise I can talk. Love the scent they put on those things. Alright, let's get rigged up. But first, well, let's take this wacky rig off. Favor the shaky head. I need to change out that line. Yeah, I'm going to change my leader here real quick. There we go, quick easy fix. Simple clinch knot. I've actually never run one of these cutter worms on a shaky head. I've always run them weightless, so I'm actually really interested to see how that's going to look. And also, because top water is definitely a thing to use this time of year, I'm going to leave that 90mm whopper plopper on the 7.5 foot heavy rod. Alright, let's get that jig rigged up here on the 7 foot medium. Yeah, jig rig's a pretty finesse approach, so I'm going to rig that up on my finesse spinning rod. Alright, get the chatterbait on the 7 foot medium bait casting rod. Alright, so I'm going to leave the craw jig and the swim jig just set up in the trays so I can use those. I can switch those if I need to. And I think let's rig up a jerkbait on the jerkbait rod. I'm going to rig up a slow sinking jerkbait. Areas I might go fishing, getting all this stuff rigged up. I know there's going to be really clear water, so that's where that jerkbait's going to excel. I know I've probably said this before in other videos. Actually, I mean, you find something I could use to give you a better backdrop to see that. I know I've probably said this in other videos, I think I have, but, I go through a lot of different colors and presentations when I fish jerkbaits and crankbaits, so I just leave a small snap swivel tied to the end of the line. You save so much line having to not tie on a lure every single time, and, just that quick snap swivel changes out the color, changes out the presentation for you, and actually, those super small ones like that don't mess with the action of the reaction bait you're using. Easy as that. Alright, so that means what I'm actually taking with me to the water are my plastic swimmer tray, plastic worm tray, jigs and blades, rage tails, and swim baits. When you guys are planning to go out fishing, definitely figure what you're going to target, what your plan of attack is, even days beforehand. I actually don't know when I'm going to make this fishing trip because, just had a daughter born. But the next time I go out, I know what I want to fish for, I know what the season's like, and I know how things are going to look out there. So that's just planning ahead, picking out what I'm going to use, what I know will work. Swim baits, obviously, because, like I said, right now we're getting close to the post spawn, so the fish are going to be eating other fish. Rage tails, because I got all my creatures, all my rage tail creatures, crawdads, fish, big old honking worms like that. Never know you're going to need a worm that big. Jigs and blades, because it's my spinner baits, my chatter baits, and of course all my jigs, because, like I said, I'm a jig fisherman. Jigs are my confidence lure, and, can run just about any presentation on these. Plastic worms, specifically for the shaky head, because I might switch out the worms I'm going to use, might switch to a Senko, might throw around some, small 5-inch grubs just in case. And plastic swimmers, because they go with jigs. Their fishing can rig up more weedless. Definitely going to bring my reaction rod, so, throw around some jerk shads. Might find a use for this. Juvenile bass, belly weighted hook, maybe. That's the one I'm most looking forward to using, that 3/8 ounce swim jig with the Cane Thumper worm. Didn't rig that one up first because I know that chatterbait's going to be the thing to definitely be using as a search bait. So I'm going to get this stuff loaded up in my tackle bag, and I'm actually going to give you guys a quick tour of my tackle bag, show you what I take to the water with me, and how I just leave specific stuff in there on purpose in preparation. So I'm sure you guys have seen my tackle bag before, but I use the Okuma Nomad, because of all the space that's in this thing, and I'll show you why. Let's just do a top to bottom run through. So, got my fishing towel hooked up with a carabiner right here on the top handle. So this one side pouch here, I usually put a water bottle in there. This side pouch here with the Velcro on the side, I keep leader material in here. So different sizes leader depending on what I need. You know, usually keep some 12-pound fluorocarbon, some 15-pound copolymer, and some 8-pound mono. Never knowing you might need those leaders. This side, this pouch, terminal tackle. So, got the one tray that double-sided and have, you know, different size hooks in this side. So, you know, I got like my different size shaky heads, belly weighted hooks, jig heads, flipping and pitching hooks, tube hooks, and wacky rig hooks, and Ned rig hooks. And I sort of have just like a small key on here to remind me what's where. And then on this side, just simply EWG hooks ranging from size 1 to 7/0. And pretty much the only two that I use, at least the only two I keep with me, are the Mustad light wire for those lighter finesse presentations and the Trocars. Trocars, obviously because they're my favorite hook, sharpest hook you can find, but they sink pretty fast. So if you're using something that you want to have a slower sink, that's why I use that light wire Mustad hook. Second little tray in here, more terminal tackle. So another one of those trays that serve as double-sided. This side I've got all the smaller hooks that I use for panfish. So like for trout fishing, got my Carlisle style hooks, Aberdeen hooks, small treble hooks, bigger treble hooks, size 8 mosquito and octopus hooks, drop shot hooks, size 1 and 2 mosquito hooks, and then octopus hooks in different sizes. And here just got, you know, different types of terminal tackle based on what I need. So I got all my tungstens in here for Carolina or Texas rigs. Got my pegs here, drop shot weights, swivels, and I'll show you guys what I did with my swivels. So I don't know if you guys ever thought of this, but I mean, I got tired of having all my swivels tangle up inside my tackle bag. So what I did was I would just get one swivel and attach all my other swivels to it. So now, if I need one swivel, they're all there, ready to just detach. You know, even my little snap swivels, little barrel swivels for Carolina rigs. It just makes it a lot easier to get what you need without it tangling. Little beads and floats, my lead bullet and egg sinkers, split shots, some of my tungsten swinging head jig heads. You just attach a hook to the end of that. Hooks I use specifically for wacky rigs and Nico rigs, and of course nail weights for those Nico rigs. You know, keep some tungstens in there and just some plain old construction nails. As long as it's got that rough cut on the nail, it does just fine. So real quick, something I did with these. So this is the, I think this is the P-line tray. Yeah, the P-line double-sided tackle tray. This thing works great for keeping all your terminal tackle like this, all the smaller terminal tackle, in one spot. But if you use this for the small hooks, they can get through the gaps on these doors. So what I did is I just took a piece of electrical tape and taped it on the walls of that container. So when it snaps down in place, it keeps everything from coming out. Okay, on to the big pouch. So the big pouch, this thing can hold a ton of stuff. This is where I usually put my camera. If I take any extra tackle trays that can't fit in the bottom compartment, which you're going to see, I put them in here. But bring with me some snacks. Some bait down here in the bottom. Keep my panfish bait down here. Things like the impulse worms, bait dust, crappie nibbles, you know, things like that. The panfish bait always comes with me. So some plastics I always bring with me because I never know if I'm going to need the presentation for them. So let's go through the BWAs first. I always take some watermelon color BWA Armor Craws, some black and blue flake BWA Ultra Hogs, some black and blue BWA 5-inch venom tails for some shaky heads or anything like that. Some cinnamon BWA war axes. So those are just like creature and worm baits that I always bring with me. Now, I'm not sponsored by BWA, but I have used their plastics for so long, and they catch a ton of fish. This side pouch here. So, never know when I'm going to want to use a swim bait on a jig head, and I mean, I can't say enough about the Z-Man plastics, these Elastex, and how strong these things are. Open one of these up and show you. I mean, these things, they are indestructible plastics. Look at this. How many plastics do you know can you do that with and not be afraid of it breaking? The Elastex plastic is floating, so when you rig it up on a jig head, which I keep a jig head in here, keep a 1/4 ounce jig head, and it's a jig head specifically designed to go with these minnows. Oh man, I mean, anywhere you can fish these things, really love fishing these things out on the jetty, to be honest. But the two colors I always bring with me are green pumpkin, because it mimics pretty much every type of sunfish and little panfish around here, and the breaking bream, because it's got that sort of shad pattern, and like I said in that smallmouth bass video I did, these things are the ones that get it done in rivers. So it's pretty much like this: lakes and ponds, rivers. Always bring with me some of the bait mate worms. So these are the worms that I caught that bass on a wacky rig. So these things keep sitting in that scent, and I mean they're pretty biodegradable. Also, they'll break down. You know, even if fish swallows these things, it's pretty harmless. But these things are attractive to a fish. Oh man. And some other plastics I use, and I keep these just in here because the garlic scent Lake Fork Lures uses is pretty unique. So in this, I've got some of the ring fry worms in chartreuse and pepper, and I've got some hyper freaks. So these things are like big paddle tail creatures, and I mean these things imitate like a craw, maybe even a small beaver. But always bring with me a black and blue, and one that's sort of a bluegill pattern, sort of like a watermelon candy flavor on that one. But I keep these things all in the same container because I mean the colors don't mix together, and the scent is pretty unique. So I keep these separate. All right, so those are all the plastics I always bring with me. So then in this compartment here, I bring tools. So in here, mostly just a collection of bobbers. Never know when you're going to need a bobber. Bring that toothpick in case I gut hook a fish. Bring a wacky tool. Bring some towels. So these are these easy towels that you just add water to them and they open up into a pretty good sized towel actually. And these things are biodegradable. These things actually completely break down in about a week outside. From this little zipper, I've got all my scent sticks. So scent sticks I bring with me. I bring a Bait Stick Max from Baitmate. Minnow one, and this stuff is potent. So this is one of those things that this is like chapstick, but it's scent that you can put on a lure. And I mean they use real minnows to make this, so guess how effective it is. And same thing with this, some crawfish. So they use real crawfish with this, but this also has some garlic and salt to it, so a little bit extra on that. And some markers. So these things are for lure customization for plastic. So I bring with me a chartreuse and a red marker, and these things have a crawfish scent to them also. So these things are like if I wanted to doctor up a plastic, like, you know, put some chartreuse on the tail of a swim bait to make it look like the fish is dying, that's something I could do. If I want to put some red on the craws of a creature bait, you know, there I go there. So there's some stuff I always bring with me. This compartment, hoorag, gonna need that now, especially for these sunny days. And this compartment, very important thing, the scale. In this compartment, pretty closely important thing, bring a couple of these bite alarms, and I bring these for trout, salmon, you know, anything I'm going to fish with that I need the detection where I'm sort of like off to the side, and when this thing gets a bite, that's what it sounds like. And this compartment, you know, you never know when you're going to need a 12-foot tape measure. And of course I always bring with me, whoop, there's that one flying, always bring with me a fillet knife, little multi-tool, some vinyl gloves, and fishing pliers with braid snips and a lanyard. And then one of my favorite things about this bag, and one of the biggest reasons why I got it, is the actual tackle tray compartment on the bottom. So this thing can hold 4 tackle trays that are up to size 3700. So I usually just load it up with heaviest stuff on bottom. So jigs and blades first, plastic worms, rage tails, and the lightest swim baits on top. And then this thing just velcros on top, zips up. Real easy way to get your tackle, just like that. So I'm going to put these plastic swimmers up here in the extra big compartment on top. Oh, I forgot about this little thing here. So here, nothing too major, just a stringer. So some awesome additional features this thing has. So all these compartments are breathable. Every compartment has a mesh that makes it breathable, so water doesn't stay in there and it gets mildewy. And the backpack sort of has like hiking backpack feature. So it's got a clip to go across your chest. It's got a clip down here to go across your waist. And I thought this was the coolest thing. Definitely took advantage of this kokanee fishing with PK. Is it has a rain fly. Yeah, this is just a rain fly that you just, you know, fits over the whole backpack, keeps the whole thing dry if it's getting soaked. And since I'm pretty much giving you guys a tour of my fishing station, finish it up. So I keep one of these 3-tiered tote shelves over here, and I keep my hard lures that are just not in use in here. So these things are things like downriggers, things like weights, things like extra bobbers, extra floats, extra, you know, hooks and stuff. You know, the metal-based stuff that I am not taking with me every time I go fishing. This one's soft lure, so these are just all my plastics, you know, just keep them somewhat organized by brand. And I keep all my baits and scents in here. It's good to keep these in a separate tray from everything else because they can sort of like mingle with the plastics and even the metal stuff and get on that, and it changes the smell that's intended to be on the plastic. So I keep these separate, just all my different scents, power baits, worms, you know, stuff for making salmon roe, stuff like that. Helps keep everything nice and organized. You guys have seen these in my complete guide to fishing rules, the just different trays that I have for putting on different fishing lines. Tackle trays that I'm not taking fishing with me, including the top water box. And then this is stuff that's just, you know, extremely situational for only one type of fish. So stuff that I use for salmon fishing, drift fishing, sturgeon fishing, carp, catfish, fly fishing, and then of course the rod stands. So I guess I should just say this. So I actually have had an idea. It's on my fishing video backlog of how to properly store tackle. Now you guys are seeing it. So you know, this is how you want to store your rods. You don't want to just pile your rods up in a corner. You want something that's going to keep your rods like standing straight up, you know, separate from each other so they don't tangle up. Treat your rods with care, please. You'll appreciate it as time goes on. Yeah, there are some stacked in the corner, but those are just older rods. So yeah, like I said, don't know when I'm going to do that fishing trip. You know, got everything set up, ready to go. So all I got to do is just load it in the truck, head to the pond, and I'll be good to go. But I think that's going to be it for this video. This is kind of going to be the way these videos are going to change to, just this free form, off the cuff, you know, felt a lot more comfortable for me just to explain things, you know, in the situation like it was right in front of me. That's what I want to do more with this channel. You know, speaking of the channel, trying to get this channel to grow to 1,000 subscribers, and I need your guys' help to do that. So if you could, please hit that subscribe button down below and notify bell up there so you're going to be the first to see all the great content that's going to come from this channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, tips up, tight lines, and have fun fishing.